What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Transparency. Boston's got jokes today. It's a Monday. Woo, yeah. Let's just shake it. Shake it for Monday. Bryan Kohberger is in Ada County. He has a new mugshot, and it's making people talk. It's making people buzz. And they're buzzing because Bryan Kohberger looks hot, they say. Bryan Kohberger is not well shaved. He's got the 5 o'clock shadow, gruff, whatever you want to call it, going on. And Bryan Kohberger did not take a bus to go to Ada County. Bryan Kohberger took a plane. He was transported via plane. Let's take a look here.
Daily edition of the News at 5. I'm Carolyn Holly filling in. We're going to get right to this breaking news. Bryan Kohberger, the man accused of murdering 4 University of Idaho students, is in Boise now. Just this morning, he was transferred from Moscow to Boise and into the Ada County Jail. Our Abby Weld is live at the jail where Kohberger is now being held.
Carolyn, that's right. Kohberger got booked into the Ada County Jail this morning after he landed at the Boise airport at 8:21 this morning. And I want to show you some video now of Kohberger leaving Moscow this morning. He came to Boise on the Idaho State Police plane. He landed, then he went straight to the Ada County Jail, which is that video that
The Idaho State Police have a plane. It's pretty cool. There, that's it right there, right?
You're seeing now. And Kohberger's move comes after the venue for his trial changed from Moscow to Boise just this week. The Idaho Supreme Court states that Kohberger is more likely to receive a fair trial here in Ada County due to extensive media coverage and because Ada County has more resources. And Captain Ryan Jensen from the Ada County Sheriff's Office tells KTVB that Kohberger came to Boise via plane because it was, quote, the safest and most efficient way, and it made the most sense given the distance of travel and complications that could have come using ground transportation. And the trial for Kohberger is set to begin here in Ada County in June of 2025. Again, he faces 4 counts of murder, and we'll be covering everything for you here on KTVB.
All right, KTTB. There you go. There you go. So he took a plane. I knew that he wasn't going to be he's not going to be in general population. He is not going to be traveling in a vehicle that distance. Mind you, that when he would have landed at 8:21, just, you know, his mental clock ticking, it would have been 7:21 because you lose an hour when you go to Boise in the same state. I know. Crazy, right? But yeah, he is there. New mugshot. Now let's take a look at this. We're going to talk a little bit about this mugshot. And like I said, it's made, it's been tossed around. It's made its ways. And let's take a look first at its side-by-side view. All right, there it is. Bryan Kohberger, side-by-side. Okay, see all that? And so a couple things I want to point out about the mugshot. I was half making a joke when I said, man, I wonder if Latah County OJ'd him, you know, like Times Magazine did to OJ back in the day when they made OJ blacker. Okay. And so let's point out some things. No bags under the eyes. Kohberger had if you look at the picture on the left is a Latah County when he was arrested. Now that picture would have been taken after he would have been arrested in Pennsylvania, handled in Pennsylvania, then brought to Latah County. Latah County took that picture on the left. And the best 3 words that I can say on the left to describe Bryan Kohberger would be timid. That person looks timid. That person looks like fragile. Timid, fragile. And I will say this. He looks like It looks like he has some. I'll just say timid and fragile right now. Okay, we'll come back to that last word. The picture on the right. This is 2 years almost from being housed basically in almost like, I mean, the only people that he's communicating with are his lawyers and maybe occasionally, not that much, because I don't think that they want anybody listening in on his like jail calls. Would be his family. So he is not in contact with the outside world. He is not like a Chris Watts and is writing people. Okay. None of that is taking place. So, but on the right here, I see no bags, the puffy little bags under his eyes. I mean, they're really subtle on the left, but that's not present in the right. I swear I want to know if Bryan Kohberger is fucking with the Goncalves here when he decided to not shave before he left. Okay. So also you guys can say like the lighting, but let's also just talk about money, resources. Latah County, that's the type of shit that they produce on the left. Okay. Latah County, that's the type of shit they produce on the left. And it's shit. That picture is shit. Like, would you go to the photographer on the left or would you go to the photographer on the right? Now you look at money and you're like, okay, here you go. The picture on the right, man, it looks like somebody's got way better equipment. All right. Your equipment is going to, that's what makes your product good. Your equipment. All right. So Bryan Kohberger, let's take a look at the nose here. Same nose, in my opinion. They don't look like hooded eyes. He no longer has that hooded eye look, which is, I think, really helpful when you want to talk about, everyone always says, look at the eyes of a killer. All right. His ears, he's just got a little bit of the hair coming out over here. You could see that, I don't know if they just rolled his ass out of bed, but he would have right at 821. Blue eyes. His pupils are little. He's got like this. You see those lines right there? What do they call them? Smiling lines, whatever they call them. What do you guys call them? Well, I don't see those in this photo right here. They're nowhere near what that is right there. I don't see those. He's got that curly Justin Timberlake haircut or hair on natural, like ba ba ba. You guys know what I'm talking about. So maybe he's using Latah County's finest shampoo. But somebody said it, and they've never seen too many times where a guy goes in, he's in prison for almost 2 years, jail, whatever, and you take a mugshot and it looks better than the one that you took when you went in. So, and then we're going to talk about the most, I think, like, wow, his chin, you guys, his chin. His face looks a lot longer. Okay. I don't know if he's getting Botox from the guards or if he was in Latah County getting Botox from the guards, but he doesn't have that prominent crease, the frownies up here. And he is a poster child for a lot of these products these days that are on the market, that are scrolling through all of our feeds. So I wonder if the people that are sending him letters are sending him, products. In commissary, are they able to get products at Latah County? Because it truly looks like he has really clear, no acne skin, and that water, along with the soap that he is using, is just mystifying. Okay. So when we want to talk about some privileges, maybe he is getting Botox in prison. Those guards, anything for a buck, baby. But let's talk about that chin, guys. That chin, look at that chin. And I'm telling you, it's like that. I would never send Dove to any male. You know why? Because I want to feel and smell a man. So I would be sending him Old Spice. But his chin it's longer, you know? Um, and in this picture, it just seems like that his face was shrunken, you know, like if you're trying to crop it and fit something. And it seems like here, Brian's face is able to just be as is, and it doesn't seem like it's, you know, he's lost weight in his face. I truly think it is something to do with this croppage. It almost looks like Bryan Kohberger is constipated on the left side. That was the other word I was going to use, is the 3 words I said I was going to hold one back. He looks constipated in picture on the left, and picture on the right, it looks like he just relieved himself. So again, if I'm going to do this and we're going to have this episode, I'm going to have a little fun with it as well. So I see a guy on the right being like, it seems like he's just like at, what's the word? Peace. Is peace a word? Nowhere near the fright. I don't look at that picture on the right and think that guy is frightened or scared. Content, and that you know, I feel like if that picture was on Tinder, all of y'all motherfuckers would be swiping right, and don't you lie. I don't think people would be swiping as much right for the left-hand picture. So why don't we just make a Tinder account and check it out, and take this and make a Tinder account for Bryan. And somebody can be his social media manager and line up his dates. You know, we can see how many swipes he gets, and we can line up his dates. We can track these broads. We can interview these broads. We can pretend to be Bryan Kohberger, and say things like, I'm allegedly a killer right now. I'm alleged to be a killer. Do you still feel like you wanted me to, you know, get up in that? So go ahead and do your thing. You guys think I'm joking right now, but someone's going to run with that idea. And I'm going to say to myself, why did I do that? I could at least have like lined up interviews daily for this shit. We're going to catfish people with Bryan Kohberger, but see, we're going to tell them, because his name's not going to be Brian. We're going to put his name Bryan Kohberger. We're not going to say his name's Tommy. His name's Bryan Kohberger. And I think on Tinder they just use first names, though. Can't recall that. But on the right, the biggest thing to me is the chin. Okay? The chin. So now I'll be looking in chat to see what your guys' biggest takeaways are from the picture. Can you tell a lot from a picture? It's like judging a book by its cover. I do want to clear something up, because I did get some emails and it had me going and checking something, and then I just went straight to the source. So I do want to talk just for a second, because it is important. So this is just Bryan Kohberger right here. There's a little Ada County Sheriff Office symbol down there to the right, like the Olin Mills pictures that you would go and take, courtesy of Mod Squad. I told her I'd put that one up there, so we had the little logo. You guys know what I'm talking about. Now, this was posted, and I just want to say, so I went ahead and got clarity on this, all right? Let me do this like so. Okay. I got emails about this. You like that, Owen Mills? Is that how you say it? Yeah. So I want to get clarity on this. Let me see what else I got here. All right. Just so we're clear, that picture was never posted with this comment. Okay? It's really important. So that picture that we just saw was never posted with this comment that took place and was sent to me. All right? I want to explain why I want to say this. right? It wasn't like the picture was posted with this and then the picture came down and then this just stayed up. None of that took place. And the only reason I'm addressing it is because of the emails that I received about it. And people were confused about it. So I just wanted to clear it up with Jules. And so I wrote her. And so I just said, wait, they put up this picture of them with a gun and these face covers on their page with that post originally and then took it down, ? I just want to make sure I have it correct. Thanks in advance for taking the time to answer my question. Jules said, I thought I made that distinction in the long caption. Maybe I need to reread how it's worded if it seems unclear. And I said, well, I'm pretty educated and comprehension ranks high within that level of education. Smiley face or tongue out face or whatever face. So maybe it's just a Monday morning, but I can assure you I wouldn't waste your time or mine with writing this question if there was 100% clarity within the long caption. I think my question was a simple close-ended yes or no reply. Signed, Goncalves, Army of Love. Hashtag. Truth and transparency, they did not repost this photo. Perfect. The post from the Facebook just tracks with their previous behavior, along with them openly admitting to interviewing the people of Latah County and wanting to, quote unquote, get to know the community of Ada County, which I completely disagree with them doing that. As seen in my previous video, the only photo of the left pic of the blonde in just the shirt was found only on the G's family page. That picture of the blonde, I have that because I have the video of them walking into court. Yes, that shirt was on the blonde. The blonde is family and friends of Kaylee's parents. So as seen in my previous video, the photo on the left is a blonde shirt, only the G's Facebook page and nowhere else. It was scrubbed. Well, I have it if you guys want that. It wasn't until Say It Louder tagged me on X with the gross photo that I decided to show how they have been this entire time. I said, I read it. The word repost, as in that it was posted with the caption from yesterday, is the confusion. As in me and others thinking that they first posted that pic with yesterday's caption and then took it down and reposted without the picture. Why I say others, because that's how it was sent to me. So I came here for clarity because I don't just run with anything. Good to know they never attempted to use the picture that was posted with ever associating with this right here, this post. I said, that's all I was concerned about. That's how you handle things. You just boop, boop. I said, have a happy Monday. Choose transparency. Correct. I never said they reposted it with their Facebook post from yesterday. Never once. I never said that you did. I'm saying that it's people are seeing a part of something because people do not read. They read, but they don't comprehend. That's the issues that I'm also having when someone says, did you read that? I don't ask that anymore. I said, did you comprehend that? Did you comprehend that? Because I know you read it, all right? But did you comprehend? It's a totally different thing. It's like the person, we're all guilty of this, that reads the same last 3 pages of a chapter because we're like in La La Land. So did you comprehend? So here it is. Yesterday, that's all they posted. The defendant has officially arrived in Ada County. I hope they have a welcoming party for him. Ha, ha, ha. Goncalves, Army of Love. Again, I said it on Friday. I give them grace. I think they're going through a lot. I don't know how I would grieve. I don't know. But I do know things that I wouldn't do. Okay. And I would never be writing ha, ha, ha. I don't know. But anyways, I just said thank you. And this is why I came right to you. Hope you understand why now. I will agree with you that as of late, the Goncalveses have been a disappointment to me because this isn't who they were. And I just have to continue to pray for them and all affected by this. But giving grace is one thing. Giving up our rights is another thing. Bryan Kohberger's rights are our rights. Okay? And so that's the clarity. This post, that's all it was. There was never a picture with a gun and that happened sometime before. And I can't even. Jeff says, I know little and lean towards him being guilty. The Goncalveses surely know more than I do, so their guilty leaning makes sense. And I guess haha are only for Ellie, right? I don't know who the ha is for. I would think that that's this post can be kind of looked at as like, I hope that they violate him. I hope that they give him a welcoming party. Have you ever heard of that in prison, what a welcoming party is? If not, Jeff, look it up. Okay. So two can play these games. I don't believe that the Goncalves is no more. Okay. They were the ones that were crying, saying that they are just like us. They are just like us. I was referring to Lana's regular use of ha-ha-has. I would never compare me to the Goncalveses. I didn't lose a child. But I can see that Jeff has an issue that he thinks that I'm harsh on law enforcement. And no, I just have standards across the board. You should actually look back and see how much I praised the Columbus captain, because she didn't put up with nobody's shit, and you're gonna get the fuck up out. Strong Black woman. Anyways. Oh, I think I already said that. Yeah, I think law enforcement in that area is a joke. But I think that because I've proven it on my channel with the incompetency. So, but thanks, Jeff H. I'm glad that you choose to be here. That at least means that you think that it's worth your time. So, because I would never go somewhere that it wasn't worth my time, especially on a Monday morning at 9 a.m. Never. Absolutely not. So thank you. Now, back to Bryan Kohberger. Then and now. Usually people, let's put a side-by-side of Richard Allen. Look at Richard Allen. Richard Allen, holy shit. If you put a side-by-side of Richard Allen, because they basically just a couple months behind each other of being arrested, and where Bryan looks at like right now, and where Richard Allen looks right now from when he was arrested. And then you compare the conditions of two innocent until proven guilty people, and you look at their conditions that they were housed in, all right? And you have one guy that his rights are being upheld. Bryan Kohberger's rights are being upheld. He's not a prisoner, okay? He's being held as a date. He's being detained, right? He's not a prisoner yet. He's being held without bail and awaiting to find out if he is guilty or innocent. And you look at Richard Allen, who his rights are being completely trampled all over, right? And what is this man doing, Richard Allen? Well, he's eating his own shit. He's giving 60 confessions, all of them different. That is the definition of a false confession. And you look at the lawyers, and you can't say that there's anything that's different between Bryan Kohberger's attorneys and Richard Allen's attorneys. They are both public defenders, and they are both zealously advocating for their clients. The only difference here is discretion. Is one judge is what? Upholding our constitutional rights, and the other judge is not upholding our constitutional rights. And look at the difference. Go look at Richard Allen, then and now. All right. And then go look at Bryan Kohberger, then and now. And that, if that doesn't make you go like scratch your head, then I don't know what will in life. Then there becomes a fine line of, I told Annie Potts, if she's listening, I told her that I wanted to talk about this, which is obstruction of justice. Where does it become? Where's the line going to be drawn where obstruction of justice is literally among us? Okay. Are we walking a fine line? I agree, Snoopy. Disturbing treatment of RA. But it's very, very interesting when you put the timelines of those two. Karen! Woo woo! Woo woo, Karen! Thank you so much for the super sticker. I just saw that now. Thank you for DM. Where was it? Woo woo! Okay. It totally just threw me off there. Thank you, Karen, for just throwing me off my game. No, your kindness and generosity is greatly appreciated. Thank you. It is such a pleasure, Karen. You know what they say about Karens? Well, you're just proving us all wrong, Karen. You're just proving us all wrong. $399. Is that what that says? It's Monday morning. I need to take a shot if that's what that says. But yeah, Richard Allen and Bryan Kohberger. So Bryan Kohberger was arrested, obviously, right before January 1st of 2023. Richard Allen was arrested right before the Idaho 4 murders happened. All right, so just a couple months apart. And seeing both of them at the same stages, going through their case basically at the same time, same stages, and one case taking 6 to 7 weeks for an arrest, the other one almost taking that many in years. But seeing where they're at, they have everything the same. Both of them were appointed public defenders. Both of them having, I think, amazing teams. People that are like truly fighting hard for their, not only for their innocence, but their rights, our rights. And how can Bryan Kohberger look like this? All right. And how does Richard Allen look like how he looks? And then one doesn't have to look far just to say, okay, well, let's just track a little timeline and work backwards. What's happening with Richard Allen? He's in solitary confinement, 23 out of 24 hours a day. He was on suicide watch. He had guards we know all of that, right? Both heinous crimes, both involving a knife. Okay. I mean, these two actually suspects turned into alleged culprits. Very similar heinous stabbings, right? So, but how are they being treated? Do you think that Richard Allen has participated in his defense? Absolutely not. Richard Allen we're hoping that Richard Allen can stay alive. Okay. Both of them have filed interlocutory appeals at certain points of their, case proceeding. There's a lot of similarities, but the one thing that you can just like shake your head about and say, wow, is the treatment. The treatment. Bryan Kohberger has 100% been involved in his defense, 100% talking to his attorneys, 100%. The first time I saw him taking notes was just the last hearing. He was actually sitting there. He had a pen and he was actually taking notes. But if you think about it, that was like the first hearing that wasn't more like we're trying to get the discovery, or in some type of way that we're trying to get more, that we're trying to explain to the judge that stuff is missing. And then you look at Richard Allen. I had, you guys haven't been able to see court appearances with him because it's been closed. But when I was there in March, I mean, he's like out of it. Absolutely out of it, man. And to think that it could have been worse than that, and to see his wife and mom there, it was just right there, right in front of your face. And so to think that Bryan Kohberger's parents, they think in their son's innocence, I guarantee they don't think their son's guilty. And so to think that I could be sitting in a room, I want to be there to, support my kid. And then here I'm sitting next to people that are, outside screaming to shoot my kid and kill him, before they even hear or see any piece of evidence. And I would just think those parents have nothing to do with if Bryan did it or if he didn't, right? They didn't do anything. They weren't there. But I think that I would have a lot of compassion and grace for that family if I was in the shoes of the family and the family, just because I would want the same thing. And so, but to be demanding that we get the firing squad and, paving the way that he's guilty and that we should be, let's line him up. Let's shoot him. Let's kill him. That's a tough pill to swallow, I think. I would never have the balls to wear that before this man would be considered guilty in front of parents. I would expect to get my ass beat. So I'm just saying. So much love and respect, Melissa. Thank you so much for being a member here. 13 months. WB super sticker. Thank you. Waking you guys up on this Monday morning. Curious to see when they're going to have these this conference status update to realign the deadlines for this trial that's supposed to be in June of 2025. It's truly right around the corner. When I read over everything that was, these are the dates and stuff. Those dates are heavily approaching, and it's all going to be here before you know it. And so I'm curious to see when this is going to be. Lana, thank you for all you do. Oh, Jesse, what's up? How many months there? 13. We have another 13-monther. I truly recommend, guys, if you really want to know a lot what's going on in cases that you follow and you're going to be in true crime, Carrie and Cyree have a channel that I think is very, very important. I couldn't imagine wanting to talk about true crime, wanting to be in this community and follow cases and not like understand some stuff. I think that that would be ignorant. So like when I don't like know something, I don't want to come out and just say something that I don't know. I'm going to try to lean on people that I believe that I can obtain. Information is power, knowledge is power, and it's just really kind of surprising that more people in this community aren't going over and taking an opportunity to learn and educate ourselves on processes and protocols and our rights and balancing those rights with as far as like victims' rights versus like you're innocent until proven guilty. We can't just go be violating and just getting search warrants signed. Like there's ways to do things. And so it kind of just baffles me that people aren't over there watching the shit that they're putting out. And it's from a law enforcement standpoint. And something yesterday that they said, which I think I've been like screaming it. And I was just like, right when I heard it, I was like, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I said, law enforcement is no longer detectives. They're not using the tool of investigation. They're not using, they're relying on here. Like I said, we're going to go use IgG right off the rip. Like, remember when they wouldn't even consider DNA and it was like, oh, that's junk. That's junk. That's junk. Okay. And now you're not being detectives. You're not utilizing your ability to go out in the field and get the interviews, preserve, if there is the technology out there to preserve, to gather as much information. And they're just relying on, I guess you could say the word technology. But you can rely so much on technology, guys. But at the end of the day, there has to be a human being that takes the information that would come from, a search warrant of whatever data you're going to go get. And you still need to go and sift through it. When you get the phone of, if you have 101 phones in a case and you're downloading them and you have these all extracted, what you're looking at is literally files upon files upon files of these are their incoming calls. These are their outgoing calls. These are their text messages. These are their pictures. This is their, this is the timeline. This is things that could have been deleted. Like the computer doesn't go through that for you and determines like, oh, this message right here, this looks suspicious. You have to connect the dots. Okay. Technology doesn't do that for you. Human beings do that. I mean, you have to go and you get the material, you look at it, you review it, you're putting it all on a timeline. And then you go the process of eliminating. And I think that that's just lost on people. We're just like, I think that this person did it, so I'm going to go out and get information that proves that person did it. The fuck is that? That's not what you do. You look at, that's not how you work a case, okay? That is not how you work a case. Maybe 5 years after it's been cold and you're like, okay, I know this person did it. Or listen, we have all this circumstantial stuff. Or here, they were just really good about covering their tracks. Like we have to go back in the beginning and they had to slip up somewhere. Let's find where the slip up was, because everybody is human. Okay. And when I heard Payne on the stand talking about this case, how do you not know everything about this case? Like, this is your baby. Like, this is like your case. I would feel embarrassed. I would be embarrassed if I was Payne and those are the answers that I'm giving. And who I would feel, and I got to sit there, the family's listening to me talk, and I'm talking like I don't know. I don't know any of this shit. I don't know how to write up that search warrant. I don't know how to. I had him do it. I had to. And then you don't hear the family saying, "Why do we have a guy that has 2 years experience as leading this investigation?" I think they said it back in the day, but you don't hear them saying that right now. And it's just the quality of people's work is just woo. And maybe the internet forgets, when people put out videos and they're just so wrong. It's like, oh well, a couple of days go by and I'll just put out this or whatever, and it totally contradicts the last thing that they said. But the internet forgets. Well, you can't do that with cases. You can't just, I don't know. So listening to them talk about that last night, I think was really enlightening, and it's just stamping things that I've screamed on this channel. I think that more hands in the cookie jar trying to work a case is not beneficial to that case. I think it hurts that case. How do I know what 120 motherfucking people are doing? Think about that. 120 people. I'm supposed to tell you, here, you're going to go do this. No. Patrolling is one thing. Hey, we want extra patrols to be in the area, but I can't have all these people's hands. I need you. If I interview somebody and I interview them again, like, don't you think that that's going to help? Like, and I've interviewed all of these 15 other people, right? And so I heard what that person says, right? And now I'm talking to this person and it clashes with what that person said. That's instant. If I have 40 people here and they all did interviews and they're just slapping down reports, they don't even know what questions to ask. Like so it's just wild. So that's what I have to say. That's what I think about this. Coffee, a member for 11 months. Woo! Shit. Coffee cake. Bring some coffee cake in here. Why be so nosy? She turned somebody green. Woo! Donating a membership there. Y'all see Kansas City 3. He's going to be charged. The friend, not Jordan Willis. He's not being charged. Somebody else. Oh, gifted 5 memberships. Oh, and there was an arrest in the family of 4 that was murdered in their home, and then there was a couple of different fires set. There was an arrest in that case as well. Ooh-wee. Carla, who turned green? Hopefully some cool people did. Hopefully some cool people. Yep. So on the left, on the right, I mean, I will say this. I want to talk about the treatment of Bryan Kohberger, the preferential treatment of Bryan Kohberger. There's nothing preferential about anything. It's we have rights until the evidence proves that we are guilty, and that's based on the jury. But nobody should be walking into jails looking like Richard motherfucking Allen. And I think that the Goncalves would be having a party if they want Bryan Kohberger to look like Richard Allen. And it's like, then you want crimes to be committed. You're okay with our rights being violated. In the same sense, just like Kaylee had the right to go home and be left the fuck alone. All right. So again, congratulations to the people that got their membership from black to green. Again, if you guys are just joining us, Bryan Kohberger took a plane from Moscow. Remember, they lose an hour, so he would have left at 5:21, 6:21. 6:21 in the morning, and landed there at 8:21 because it's a 3-hour flight. Is that correct? But you lose an hour. That's my. Well, there should be no reason that the boyfriends and friends. There's a ton of friends that live in Boise that were friends with these victims. There's no reason that these people that are friends with the victims now can't be going and supporting their friends here. They live in Boise. They better be there. DMC, AK Lady Di. Uh-oh, who's turning green? Thou shalt not kill, true crime. Good morning. Wanted to stop by and say hello and thank you for your support the other day. Absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you for when you have the time to be attending things out there. I know that this case just moved a little bit further away. How long is the drive now? Yeah, I would say that what's happening is I would think the word obstruction of justice comes to mind. And I think that can't happen. So, uh-oh. Woo-wee! $9.99. I think somebody bought, I want to say, I think I got a membership in your channel when I was there, when somebody had bought the memberships for other people. I think. I'll have to go check. Something else I wanted to talk about. Okay. There is going to be suppression hearings, guys. All right. There's going to be suppression hearings. And those suppression hearings are going to stem from the search warrants. Something that's been screaming over here at the top of our lungs is these search warrants. How did you get to Bryan Kohberger? Those are the two big things that I spent a ton of time on and walking you guys through the dates and the order that they deemed important to go and get things. Okay. And remember that whole time, we don't know that this IgG was being used, right? And it's interesting if you think about it. Why do you think they thought to themselves, these investigators were like, let's go subpoena Walmart, eBay, Amazon. Let's see who's bought this knife. Wait, but what knife? Well, the sheath. The sheath. Okay. But think about this. Let's go and see who's bought this. Okay. Well, after listening to like Cyray, because you're reminded of, okay, well, what's too much? What's too little? Where's the line? Like, Amazon just going to turn over to you everybody that's bought a knife on their platform. But why did the investigators think that the person would have just bought it recently or bought it ever? Like, how is it the condition that the sheath was in that you're like, dude, this is such pristine condition. It looks like it's brand new. Is that how you were able to get the search warrant? You know, think about that. You have. Karen, feeling the love today. Member, 3 months. Woo! Gosh, you guys making me. Oh, 5 gifted memberships. Lupo, Nina. I'm saying that right? Catalyst do. Moving up, baby. Moving up in the world. 16 months looking at baby 2. Oh my gosh, DMC, I think I got that right. Is that another 10? And I'm behind. Georgie girl, you became a member. Did I say that right too? Geo? Is that Orgy? Orgy girl? I'm just kidding. Orgy girl, come on. 6 months, 15 days. Damn, social glow. 15 days. Why be so nosy? God, everybody better be green in this damn chat. So you know, all those warrants and nothing comes back to Bryan. Think about that. Every single one of them. Every single one of them. The return. 0. I want to know how they're going to get away with this. Okay. When you're filling out your warrant or your search warrant and you have your probable cause, you have Blaker saying that they believe that Bryan went straight home. Okay. And he maps out the way that he went straight home. He didn't take that big loop-de-loop. Okay. And that we believe that there's going to be evidence at that house because he went straight home. Right. And then you have Payne writing the probable cause and him saying, we need to get his records for this phone and his historical data and his tolls and his whatever. Okay. They're going after everything. Right. Because, we were able to get his number because he gave it in a ticket, and then we have reason to believe that he made this loop because we have surveillance cameras of a white sedan coming on a camera at 5:30 in the morning. What? Yeah, we have this white sedan on camera in Washington State University's campus area coming on a camera at 5:30 in the morning. That's what they had. That's what they had. Because Bryan Kohberger wasn't on the cell tower dumps between that 3 and 5 time. What they had is a white sedan leaving at 2:45 on a camera, right? And then they found another one at 5:30. Nowhere near able to say that that's the same vehicle. No identifying markers like that to say, oh, look at that license plate. Oh, look at that license plate. It's the same one. And we, like, if that was it, this would be, they wouldn't be saying suspect vehicle. I mean, it's identifiable. So think about that. Think about what they used and how I said he went ahead and did this so that I could get this signed. And we're going into his apartment, but it's totally different than what you're saying he did when you're going after what? The phones, the historical data. How can that be possible? How could that be legal? So I can say, you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Hey, you're going to go ask this judge. I wonder whether it's the same judges that sign those. I'm going to go ask. I'm going to tell the judge that we need his phone records because these cameras show a white car left out of Pullman at 2:45 and a white car came back at 5:25, and it was from that area, okay, which is consistent with Bryan Kohberger what? Making a loop all the way around, because we have what? We were able to get his phone doing what? Allegedly pinging, okay, and using CAS to show this like weird ass map of going that loop. Well, then, if you're saying that, was there a point in time that you said no, we don't have reason to believe that he did this, but we're still going to go ahead and write this other probable cause affidavit up. So, because I believe this other cop believes that he went straight home, and that's what would make it. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? I would think both of those motherfucking things have to be tossed. I would think that you're going to lose your AT&T one, okay, because you fabricated more or less saying where Bryan was, or that what this phone was doing, and you kept out data to manipulate the data, okay. So what happens, and like what would you truly be losing in this case if things were suppressed? What are we talking about? What's going to be lost? And when I say lost, it means that the prosecution can't use. And is there a chance that this move, because they knew that there was going to be a lot of things that wouldn't make it into evidence for a jury to see? And that's what we're talking about. The damage is done in Moscow. Like, you're not getting a fair trial because there's people in my chat here that think that Bryan Kohberger was stalking the victims on social media. When you say you follow this case, it is Bill Thompson turned red. You know that's not true. Why did you ask those questions? Okay. So what's going to become inadmissible? What is going to become inadmissible in this court case? And is this a situation? Some people think out there that Bryan Kohberger is guilty, but because the police botched this so bad that he is going to walk because there's evidence that's not going to make it. Nope. BK stalked the victims. Darling Nikki. Tell me you're joking, right? Tell me you're joking right there, darling Nikki. Because if you truly believe that, it pains me to ask where the evidence is in that, when you have actually Bill Thompson saying that it wasn't true. Payne pencil whipped search warrant affidavit. I'm sorry, it's a typo. Bill Thompson, man. You guys, do you know how much that they're gonna lose? Lana, Ellie took fire stick from apartment. Why didn't they serve a search warrant on his things, his apartment, his car? Why didn't they do all that before arresting him? Think about this. In the Richard Allen case, they served a search warrant. He was not arrested yet on his house. Okay. Ron Logan, search warrant, right? To search things. Like, you can go get search warrants before you arrest people. In the Bryan Kohberger case, what search warrants did Bryan Kohberger know about, physically know about prior to his arrest? And from everything that we have, the answer to that would be none. Okay. So, why didn't they serve a search warrant on his home, his apartment? He's gone. They could have served a search warrant, left, searched his car, right? We have probable cause to search the car to see if there's anything in there, right? We have probable cause to search the apartment to see if, like they did in Montauk, in Virginia, the missing Indian woman, Monsma, they searched her house, took apart that master bathroom, right? And found blood. They said or pooling of blood, looks drag marks, whatever. They did all of that before arresting the guy, and they didn't even arrest him for murder. They arrested him for concealing a body. So we get this case here, and they were serving search warrants in this case in connection with the Idaho 4 case. So when it comes to Bryan Kohberger, why was it like, we need to do all of this at the same time? If you're not going to give us, okay, let me put it this way. Did MPD ever try to obtain a search warrant for any of Bryan's things like that are physical, not technology, in terms of, did they try to ever obtain that by itself and it got denied? My gut says no, because I would think that if you go and get these search warrants and they don't turn up anything, is that going to be a problem to being able to obtain more search warrants when it would come to him? Because if you're expecting to get there be a return, okay, and there isn't. If your work, it's like, so at trial, they're not going to be able to say, Officer Payne, Detective Payne, you served a search warrant for Bryan Kohberger because you thought he went which way? Up, out of King. And then, were you aware that Blaker disagreed with you and said that he went the other way, straight back to Pullman, and that you had video evidence of that he couldn't have went straight back? Did that video evidence exist? So you knew that couldn't have been it? You're not communicating with him? And he's thinking, well, I mean, did you guys talk about that in an investigation once you've talked about that? So then you knew, okay, hey, you're going to just write that up that way. Go with what you think, and I'll go with what I think. And then we're both going to go, it's contradicting of the other. And then we put them in and we're getting search warrants signed, but yet they're claiming two different things. I would just think common sense wise that would be a problem for me. Like if I'm a judge and I'm looking at this and I'm like, wait a second, your fucking buddy just came in here and he's saying that the car is going that way and you have this evidence. So you're saying he went straight home, making it so that he would have never discarded anything and that he would have walked into a shower basically all bloody, okay, and took a shower there and like traces of whatever. I mean, wouldn't a judge be like, you guys are claiming to... Isn't there a problem? Is there a problem? there's a common sense problem here. Yeah, they are very contradicting. And I want to know the dates of when they never show us dates on when they wrote up the affidavit. I believe there was somewhere probably around, because I've seen at least 1, 2, 3, 4. And what the affidavit looks like for probable cause, it seems like they just kept like adding on to it, and they were adding things until it was like, okay, you have enough here, I'll sign. Okay. Because the way that it's piece choppy. But I wouldn't be surprised if they're somewhere in the ballpark of 5 to 10. Because obviously an affidavit for probable cause in the earlier stages aren't going to have everything that it did, in the week 7 or week 6, 7. So you're going to have different affidavits out there. But the ones that seem like they were written at the same time, or very, very close to it, are the December 23rd affidavit for AT&T, and then the affidavit that was by Payne, and the affidavit written by Blaker for the apartment. And so are you able to get them maybe on the fact to say, you said same day, who's the judge that signed it? Did they use different judges? If they use different judges to sign, like if Blaker got his signed by a different judge, I can go look at the forms I have. Where are they? I don't have them out. I don't want to go digging. You can go to any judge to get, so if I was remembering correctly, like Dawn Daniels had to talk to Blaker, fill her in on all this stuff. Then Dawn Daniels is the one that went to the judge to sign to sign that. Because she's like, after being told about this, and this, I believe that probable cause does exist for X, Y, and Z. Right now, Dawn Daniels is going to get on the stand and be asked, well, Dawn Daniels, were you aware? Okay, in this suppression hearing, Dawn Daniels, were you aware that? Did you ever talk to Detective Payne? No, I only talked to Detective Blaker. Okay, and Blaker never informed you that they had served a different warrant at the same time, stating that they had cameras showing that Bryan Kohberger's vehicle took a completely different route and didn't go straight home. No, I never knew that. Is this why Dawn Daniels stated what she stated? I was really hoping that Judge Gall was going to allow this fucking Franks hearing, because we would have learned so much with how it would flow. But I think this whole case is, a potential to be all this shit gone. And that would be a travesty. And so, Jeff, if you're still in here, why I go ha 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 to law enforcement, it's not a happy ha ha ha. It's a what the fuck ha ha ha. It's a I can't fucking believe how dumb. I can't believe what's going on. And instead of firing these people, we're protecting these people who are messing up royally over and over and over. So, like I said, there's huge problems. There's huge problems, because I think that all this shit could go right out the window. The big thing, seeing with like I just don't think that there would be enough to say that we looked at this sheath, we saw it was just in such pristine condition that we thought, let's look and see who's bought that type of a knife. What? You know how many sales receipts those would be if you're going and like, I mean, did you go then to the local stores? I can't wait till they have to testify that nobody went through the list of Elantras that were in the area. No, like, where are these motor vehicle records of anybody that would have been in that area owning one of those? And then how they eliminated people to be like, all right, this is a girl that owns the car. Let's eliminate them. Let's start somewhere. Let's do this. Let's break this down. Okay, they're like 50. Let's throw them out. Well, let's keep the 50-year-olds in there. Let's throw out like the 60 and 70-year-olds. But we would first start with the university. And if there is not one report written up of them doing a canvas of these white Honda Elantras that were on both campuses, if there's not any reports written up of that, wouldn't you say that's a kind of a big problem? when they were wanting all of us, they came out to the world and told us, hey, this is what we're looking for. That would be like a last resort that you want to be like letting the public know that. All right. If you're truly doing an investigation, you'd want to exhaust some resources first before you would just say, let's go have the sleuths go find us one. Let's go get these crazy motherfuckers on the internet, you know? Or was it, hey, let's get them looking over here and don't look over here. So let's never change the fact that we're looking for a 2015. Let's never change the fact that we were looking for 2011, 2013. Now all of a sudden, you know, those are big differences, guys. Angel, can you throw up the press release from 11/23/2023? I think you mean 2022, and read what they said to what we know now. Yep, we still don't know how Ellie got to BK. Neither does Dan Taylor. But that's how I know I'm money, motherfuckers. I said that shit in fucking the day he was arrested. And I said that Ann Taylor was going to be screaming that. Because something is amiss, something is abnormal, something is wrong. And it was, and it is. And you got to Bryan Kohberger allegedly through IGG, which is whoa. Let me see. Usually you start from inside and work your way out in cases. And to hear that the families wouldn't have been interviewed, that tells you everything you need to know about this case. If you believe that the families weren't interviewed. Annie, how did law enforcement rule out the victims' own weapons and their friends' own weapons? I'm kind of shocked in this day and age that it being Idaho and all, I'm interested to know if anybody in that house owned a gun and had one in the house. You know, I didn't grow up around guns, but by all accounts, the way that those girls and their fathers were, you know, a house full of girls. I think it's interesting lately on a lot of these cases, the weapon of choice has been knives. A lot of cases out there, knives. Lana, send your opinions on the search warrant. Consider off to Ann Taylor's office. Yeah. Oh, I sent Ann Taylor a nice little email the other day. So what the fuck is going on, Ann? No. I said, Ann, I'm really upset that I have not gotten a letter offering me a goddamn job. Totally kidding. Ann, what the hell? Cyber Ninja, new member. Woohoo! AJ, Lana, thank you for your hard work. I don't always have the monthly membership. We're a big household, but I totally love your work. You bring the facts. You bring them with humor. I try to. Thank you so much. And I try to have all my videos be that anybody can view them. Where you get like the extra benefits with my channel with the membership. If anybody knows, it's all in the community posts. I put hellish shit in the community posts with documents that you don't get. That's where you get a lot of stuff with my channel as far as membership go. So in case you wanted to know. Knives. I will show this though. The timeline, I'm still not sold on the time of the crime. You know, and everything to do with that. I would really want to see more to do with the why Kaylee and Maddie stopped their phones, just both ended at the same time. Their last outgoing text messages. It's interesting. I know what you can do with like phones nowadays, and it's not through Cyray. Cyray just does the locations, but I want to know who their phone expert is in terms of, and he talked about this on his channel, not with this case, but with what he does. He's not your Josiah Roloff or your Micah Sturgis. He's not the guy that goes and testifies to a timeline and through an extraction, and if the phone turned to the to the left and it was in portrait mode and then it was in this, and then that's not what he does. But after being there, I know that you would only have to take a couple different steps to literally get a flight of stairs up where you would hear a dog barking. And so I think you could definitely argue that the person that would have been there, and if depending on you can totally tell, I think, if a dog is barking closer or further away. And I think that you would have heard, I can't imagine that you wouldn't have heard anything, especially if that sliding door was open. I really want to hear this thud. I really want to hear like this camera. It's a lot of things. But also I want to see and hear the testimony of, I want to know what they're wearing. I want to know what every victim was wearing when they were killed. I want to know if they were in any sort of different clothing than they were from being out. I want to know if they had pajamas on. I want to know, yep. I want to know where towels were at in the house. If there was wet towels. I want to know if the light switches were up or down in certain rooms, because you're not going to see those in pictures. Like, as far as the crime scene goes, I want to know where the food that Xana ordered was. I want to know if it was for 2 orders, which I believe it was. And I want to know if both orders were 8. I think that they're completely fabricating everything to do with Dylan. What else? I want to know if the showers in the bathrooms, yep, I'll give you that, if they were taken apart to see what was in the drains and everything like that. They would have had to get search warrants, I think, to do that. I believe that there's a pretty decent chance that Bethany and Dylan did not see each other when they came home that night for some reason. And I think for me, it's because of the wording that they use on that they were out separately. Like, why are you saying that? Why are you saying that they were out separately? Why the fuck would that matter? Unless you're going to like say what they were doing. But Bethany and Dylan were out separately that night. But they both arrived back at the home at this time. And I think it's because neither one of them can corroborate the other one. So they were out separately, and why you have to say that is because then they, and that's why I think that they can't. There's well, what if I'm Bethany and you're interviewing me and you ask me, well, what time did you get home? Who did you see? So I got home at this time, 1:45. Who'd you see? Well, I heard Kaylee and Maddie come home. Then I came up out of my room. So I was in the main area. So I saw them. They were taking Murphy out to use the restroom. And then Ethan was hammered. So he was in Xana's room. Xana, they were playing music. She was playing music, but he was drunk. I think he was passed out. And then I went to bed, and I don't say the name, Dylan. And then someone says, okay, what about your other roommate? Oh, I didn't see her until the morning. And so if she didn't see Dylan, that means that Dylan didn't see her, which means that those two can't collaborate. And that's why Bethany could be a potential. I'm just giving you guys an example. I'm giving you an example of why I believe that they didn't see, that they didn't tell the police that they saw each other. I think it's where they said they were out at different places, but they were both back. Everybody was back home by 2. That's based on everybody's own accounts, with some accounts being that they have to speak for the deceased people. So I would love to know who the person is speaking for the deceased people. And I think that Dylan's just going to be destroyed on the stand. I think I did a mock of that, interview, or the testimony, and then the cross on that. It's going to be brutal. I think Ann Taylor's going to be very, she's not going to go crazy on her or anything like that, but it's going to. Why would you ever think that at 4 o'clock in the morning that Kaylee is playing with the dog? Is that something that Kaylee did normally? And I'm interested to hear that answer, because that question's coming. If that question does not come, then I will make sure when I interview Ann Taylor, I'll be asking her, why didn't she ask that question? That question's coming. Okay. I woke up, I thought what I heard was Kaylee playing with the dog. What? Wait, upstairs. What? It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Is Kaylee normally playing with the dog at 4 a.m.? It's not normal. And I think she's going to refer to, if they recorded everything, she's going to refer to the multiple statements that she said that were, okay, well, do you remember that you said this? And then the next time you talked to law enforcement, then you said this. So do you think that you remembered things clearer the first time when it just happened, or when you talked to them a couple weeks later? Oh no, I was still in shock, or I don't know. I can't wait to see, but I guarantee you there's a discrepancy. Okay. Guaranteed discrepancy. 100, all money in on that. Pushing my chips in that Dylan was interviewed multiple times, and that it's like the Isaac Funderburg. You said that you saw a guy dressed in all black with a gray vest. He had a beanie on. He had dark skin and a mustache. How does that go, dark skin? How does that? And he's about your height, maybe just a little stockier. How does that description go to? He said, it looked like he could be my age, but I don't know. How could that then go to a 60-year-old white man? That's impossible. And that's impossible. Okay. You were lying then, you're lying now, or you were lying every single time that you opened up your fucking mouth. All right. But what I would definitely be showing is, oh, wait, here, Brian Drake's last patient, that's where I'm getting this from, is the same exact description. that you gave within 2 hours, 2.5 hours of hearing the gunshots. That's the description you gave. But then weeks and months go by, and you have a completely different, like, you're being shown pictures of 60-year-old white males that look like grandpa. And wouldn't you be saying, I don't know why you're showing me pictures of a 65-year-old man? Like, none of this is what this guy looked like. So to see that Isaac Funderburg didn't do that and sat there through 7 6-packs. So that's the other thing when people want to talk about, well, do you think that Dylan identified this man? No, Dylan didn't identify anybody. Well, okay, was Dylan shown 6-packs? Do you guys know what 6-packs are? I'll be happy to show you guys what I'm talking about. All right, do you guys want to see some 6-packs? 6-pack is 6 photos of people that they have in the database. Sometimes they can be like from their driver's license. Other times they can be from their booking photo. And they try to pick people that look like each other. And then they hand them to you. And then out of those 6 pictures, that's why a 6-pack, do any of those, here's the first 6-pack, boom. Okay. And then they hand you, and they say, like, we're gonna go through all of them. Here you go. And then, okay, now here's the second pack of 6-packs. And they did 7 of those with Isaac Funderburg. 7. And do you want to know what this ass clown did? He sat there and took a pen and was saying things like that. And it's almost like he was coached to do this, to make it so that it's just never going to be, it's so ridiculous that it's when you just, like, you're not credible. We need Isaac Funderburg not to be credible. Just like if you're going to try to make somebody not credible, you get them to do something like this, because that's when you know that it's corrupt as fuck. He was picking photos out and he was saying, oh, the nose of this guy looked like the guy I saw. This guy had a little bit of see that, like, chin, and it was like this. Meanwhile, it was pitch motherfucking black outside, and he's saying that I can't. It was pitch black. I can tell you what he was wearing. I'm not going to be able to tell you what his facial features are. Are you kidding me? I might be able to tell you if he has like okay, yeah. When I looked over there, oh, definitely the guy had a beard. He had facial hair. Okay, but Isaac Funderburg literally sat in this room like the fucking addict that he was at the time. I don't know what he's doing now, but by all accounts, from like their own family, saying that they are in and out of, their addictions for substance abuse, and we're not talking weed. All right. We're talking way harder shit, and sitting in this room and literally talking about, his nose right there. Like, Isaac Funderburg would look at these 2 pictures, I bet you, and tell you that they're 2 different people. That's how crazy it was. But he was talking about unreal. You guys want me to show you what a 6-pack is? Yeah, let me just pop the top over here. So the question is was Dylan ever shown? You can't just go and bring a picture of Bryan like this and say, hey, Dylan, is this the guy that you saw? That you can't do that. In fact, Idaho State Police and Boundary County Sheriffs and Bonners Ferry, they're going to be in hella trouble for what they did with Aaliyah Sandelin in retrospect with that they just showed up at her house and had some printouts of surveillance of this guy. And then they were like, oh, she accidentally saw this. And when she saw it, she's like, oh my God, that's him. That's the guy. And Yet they never put it in evidence, but they talk about it. And here she's saying, when I talked to Aaliyah and I interviewed her, she said, no, when they came back, I told them that that's the guy that we talked to, not like that's the guy we saw. Do you see how they like to flip fucking shit? That's when she's like, yeah, they had that picture. I said, oh my God, yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy that we saw. He was coming up afterwards, like 30 minutes later. And that's when Isaac asked if he had heard the gunshots. And I said, wait, what do you mean 30 minutes later? Steve Hartman came up 30 minutes later? That's who we're talking about, the white guy? Yeah, he had nothing to do with it. He came 30 minutes after the gunshots. And I said, oh, interesting. We have surveillance cameras that show that he approached Isaac Funderburg at 7:31. And 30 minutes later is 7 o'clock, not 7:26. But here, Bonners Ferry Police, Boundary County Sheriffs, and ISP, they all knew this. But what they did is they knew that that's not what Aaliyah Sandlin meant, but they used it to get a search warrant for Stephen Hartman. That's how fucked up the police are in that town, in that area. So take that and literally think about that. And so how they fluff the search warrant and their probable cause is to say that Aaliyah Sandlin identified Stephen Hartman as being the guy that they saw walking. And she's like, what? I was like, yeah, you were the reason that they got a search warrant for all of Stephen Hartman's things. Can I show you all of this stuff? I want you to tell me if this is what you told police. I want you to tell me if this is what you said. Because I was like, did they ever give you a copy of your statement? Did you ever, see anything? Did they ever give you did they give you copies of anything? And she's like, no. And I said, well, then here, I want to show you. And so I was showing her things. And she's like, no. She's like, that's the guy that came up afterwards that we were talking to. I was like, okay, interesting. And I was like, would you like to say anything else? And she's like, the cops told me that I identified Dr. Moore. I said, excuse me, when? They're like, when they came back to the house, the guy that I picked, I said, you picked a lineup out? I was like, because we don't have that. We don't have that you ever did a photo lineup. She's like, they came back the day after and showed me pictures and then made me sign the one. And then when I was done, they said, oh, do you know who that is? And she's like, no. And she's like, oh, that's Dr. Moore. Dr. Moore wasn't even, it's all messed up, but he wasn't even in the lineup. And I said, are you sure that they didn't say, oh, that's just Moore? Like, that's Moore. They didn't say Dr. Moore. They just say, she's like, maybe they could have said Moore, but I know for a fact they said Moore. Like, and then I looked at the photo lineup, and guess what one of the guys' last names was in the photo lineup? Moore, Sean Moore. I said, you got to be fucking kidding me. And he's about 30 years younger than Dr. Moore. So, but none of that's in discovery right now. Imagine that. None of that's in the criminal discovery that was handed over. So I feel Ann Taylor's pain and why they asked for 17 supplemental requests, because you have to physically ask them for stuff. Because it's like, if you don't find how we fucked you, good luck. But when you ask for stuff, then we'll turn it over. I mean, it's bad. Wearing a trench coat was the latest. Yeah, that's the new one. The new one is that Isaac Funderburg then, 8 months later said that the guy then is now was wearing a trench coat. So, again, this is all ways so that Isaac isn't needed. I was like, Isaac, you're not saying a fucking word other than, is this what you said when you were interviewed here? Is this what you said when you were interviewed here? Yep. So you lied, right, to the police, right? So are you lying about what time you heard those gunshots too? Are you lying about where you were? Yep. You know why? Because I have you on cameras other places at the time that you said that you were at home. How about that, motherfucker? Take that. Question is, why are you lying? Somebody got to Isaac Funderburg, had him lie. It's very obvious because he was money on what he saw. People are being threatened by Marty Ryan in that town, who was the assistant police chief. I'm going to pin cases on you if you don't say X, Y, or Z. That's what's going on. And why do I know this? Because these people are telling it to me. If I didn't say this, then this is what was going to happen to me. So if you don't think that that shit is going on, it's going on. And so if you don't think that Dylan felt some pressure, hey, you and your roommate, why are you guys alive and they're dead? If you don't start talking to us and telling us, you know, what we want to hear, what's going to happen here, we're going to put some pressure on you. And then what? You're going to just tell them whatever so that they fucking, you think I did this? I didn't do this. Well, then start talking. Well, then start talking. You know? If you guys don't think that should happen, we see it every fucking day when you see interrogations. So I laugh at when people say, well, these are just our tactics that we use. Like, that's just law enforcement being law enforcement. Like, okay, well, guess what's happening when law enforcement is just being law enforcement? Law enforcement can be law enforcement, but when they tell you something, then you have to go and put it up against the evidence. You just don't, okay, we finally got them to say what we want them to say. Okay, we're good to go. Versus vetting it. Versus, you know, are you sure that it wasn't this time that you got home? Are you sure that you didn't go to bed and then woke back up? Or how could you go to bed at the same time that you woke up? How about that? Everybody was in their rooms by 2 and asleep by 4. Or no, I'm sorry. Everybody's home by 2 and their rooms by 4. Well, how do you know that? How do you know that? Because the only person that would have been up out of their bedroom, walking around, would have been Xana, and she's dead. Okay. So how do you know that nobody else was up out of their room? And clearly we have Maddie and Kaylee in the same room. So when you say that everybody was in their room, did Maddie and Kaylee go to each other's rooms after they were first in their own rooms? Because how did they end up together? Was Kaylee put in there afterwards? Did Kaylee walk in on an attack? You know, make them be specific with their words. You're not using this summary on my ass. Fuck you. Because it doesn't make sense. How would you know that everybody's in their rooms by 4? That would mean that somebody would have to tell you that's alive to say, I went up and got water, or I was the one I fell asleep on the couch. And then I woke up when I was laying on the couch and I went to my room. And okay, well, was anybody down there with you? No, they were all, I'm assuming, in their rooms. I fell asleep on the couch and then I woke up, went into my room. And then as I was going back to sleep, then I heard fucking the noises that I heard, I guess. I don't know. Like, think about how that truly would go. But there's no way that anybody that could say that everybody was in their rooms or home by 2, and most importantly, in their rooms by 4. That would have to come from the last person that would have been out in the main area. And then they said, with the exception of Xana, who got a DoorDash. Remember I told you, how did they know that it wasn't Ethan that answered the door for the DoorDash? Because why wouldn't the guy go get it? The only thing that makes sense with me with that is that they know that Ethan didn't eat the food. Okay. That tells me that they knew that Ethan didn't go get the food, okay, because Ethan didn't eat his food. And that would corroborate with somebody saying maybe that he was so drunk or passing out or whatever. But how do we know, just because Xana ordered the DoorDash or if it was ordered for her, you don't know who actually physically went to the door and got the DoorDash, right? Unless you have evidence of that. So think about that. Because I know my ass would have been like, well, go get that food to my boyfriend. Why would I go get it? You guys go get it. You go get it. Well, we also have data on Xana's phone of her taking steps at 4:02. Okay, I like that. That's good. That works for me, you know. And then we also have evidence of only, there were only half of the items were ate. And then we asked the roommates who orders what when they go to Taco Bell, who orders what when they go to Jack in the Box. Oh, this is their order. This is their order. And all of Ethan's stuff was untouched. Okay. You see, that's how you would break it all down. That's what I mean by detective work. Something that they said, like, I can't remember if it was, oh, I don't know this, I don't know that. So for them to finally say, okay, we're going to go with this story, think about it. Those girls gave multiple stories. And then they went with, okay, this is what we're going with. And you usually do that because you vet it all down. Like, are you sure that this couldn't have happened? Or wait, why do you think that? And so I think that them to say that, with the exception of Xana, who received a DoorDash at 4:00. That's just interesting. So, hello. You guys are awesome, and I'm going to round it out here. But before I go, I have to give tribute. I want you guys to really consider watching this Dateline-ish pre-record that I'm about to put out. It has to do with the Brian Drake case. So, and I'm putting stuff out that's never been seen, stuff from, videos, Celebrate, you name it, to show it's more or less to give you guys as the audience, you pick, you're the jury. Here's all the things that law enforcement was looking into as to what happened to Brian Drake. So this is a 10-minute trailer I made. If you want to see it. But I want to say thank you to the mods. Thank you guys. Thank you to the members. Thank you to the new members. Thank you to the people that bought memberships for other people. Thank you for the subs. I think I'm coming down with a cold. God, all right, here it is. And it is going to come out tonight. Here you go.
Ryan. Hi, Kate. Look, my
Hey.
husband is actually driving.
What's
First time
happening,
he's been
kiddos?
driving in a week. Total praise the Lord. Go up and all the way around. He got cleared today from the spinal surgeon that he can ease back into work tomorrow. So I just thought I wanted to let you know. So thank you for prayers. It's like total miracle from last Tuesday, Wednesday. The fact that he's still got a few problems, but we're dealing with them, and he is
I'm actually able to function.
Yeah, he's able to actually function without pain. So thank you for praying. Loved seeing the Instapot, and I want that recipe. Tell me if it turned out good.
Yeah, whatever that was, that looked amazing.
It did look like something you get off of Instagram. So let us know what that recipe is. Brian's headed up. We're actually headed back up to Bonners Ferry tonight because he left his car there and it's been there for a week. And so he needs to get around. So we just wanted to say we love you and thank you for prayers.
Love you guys.
All right, bye.
What?
There's just a gunshot over, like, right over in this vicinity.
Okay.
And then there was a guy that ran, come here, from the edge of this building
Okay.
out, and he went up the street.
Okay.
And my husband yelled at him. He's like, "Hey, was that you?" And he just started taking off.
Okay.
So he tried to.
So there was a shot over here somewhere.
Yeah, like over here. And then
Okay.
he ran from, like, the edge of this building, the window building,
Okay.
and took up off that street where the cops got.
All right. Nobody here though, right?
No.
You're fine here.
We're fine.
Okay. Go lock yourself up there.
Come here.
Copy. I'm gonna get out on foot and just checking behind these buildings in case anybody's down.
Is there any casings in here?
We haven't really looked around yet on anything.
The bullet came
Touch
from the
anything.
outside.
Yeah, we saw that. So he looks. It's so weird. Like I don't. 6 months now. So what time did you get home today? Did you work today or were you off?
I did work today.
Okay. What time did you get home?
3:47, roughly.
Did you guys all together as a family at
Yeah.
that point? Home the rest of the evening?
Yes.
Okay. And anything to drink tonight?
No.
Okay. Good shit. You're a step ahead of me, so you're doing good. All right, and so you're home. What time do you guys have dinner?
I'm supposed to be eating right now.
We're doing a little
Yeah.
late. All right. What's your
Burgers.
burger? What is it here? What'd you hear?
Okay, so I was outside putting new plates on her car. She just got the car, and I heard the gunshot roughly, I don't know time, roughly about 7:30 probably.
You were outside the time.
I was outside. Yeah, and I heard the gunshot, and it sounded like it came from directly back here. And then this building on the other side of this one has a little grass way past the picnic table there, and I saw someone come running out from there, from behind that building, and he kind of kept close to this brick building up here where the window repair shop is.
Yeah.
He was kind of like trying to stay close to the building, almost it seemed like as if he was hiding. And at this point, my fiance came outside to make sure I was okay, because she heard gunshots too, and like that's something when you hear it, you just kind of know the sound of it. And so she came outside, and I told her to bring the dogs out. She let the dogs out, and I put them in my car, and I had yelled at this guy. I said, "Hey," and he looked back and just kind of like ignored me, and I was like, "Was that you?" And he looked back and took off, and it looked like he was kind of going over towards somewhere over there, off that corner, like one of the streets over there.
Are we on this side of the highway or that side?
Oh, sorry, we're on this side. I'm just trying
very
to
good.
reach
Okay.
it. But it was somewhere towards
The
like,
date is
pediatrics,
March 12, 2020.
And I
right
drove my
now,
car back in that
22
neighborhood
or
trying
21,
to
23
get a
hours.
picture or whatever I could for you guys if I could find him.
Okay.
And I didn't see anything. And then I went and called the cops on my way home from driving through the
So
neighborhood.
when you had called, by the time you called in, who'd you call? Was 911?
Yeah. By the time I called in, I was in this back, the alleyway on the 3rd Street.
So
up
several
from where we
minutes had
are.
passed by that point.
A couple minutes out, yeah.
So now, what you think about this? Clear your mind for a second here. All right, so you hear the gunshot, you walk around, you see the guy working his way through the grass next to the building there, right? Looks back at you. Picture that for a moment, close your eyes again, and really think about it. What do you see?
I already know. I feel like I know the face, but I don't want to say it because if I'm wrong, I'm like.
It's okay.
I don't know if you've been to the Liberty up here, but there's this short, kind of Arabic-looking dude that works there. He always says, "Hey, buddy," to me. It kind of looked a lot like about the same height, looked roughly the same age.
Okay, so kind of thin, fat. What do you think?
It's probably about my height. He's a little bit bulkier than me, not muscle, but he has some more fat than I do.
Okay.
A little chunky, and I don't really know how to describe him.
Okay,
He's
let's
got a
start down the bottom.
little mustache,
Let's
maybe.
start down the bottom. What do you remember about his feet?
I don't remember. I remember he was
How about
wearing
the
black
pants?
sweatpants
Black
and black hoodie. I think he had a gray vest on. Maybe it was the light was reflecting, but I remember seeing a vest. I feel like.
Sure.
And he had a beanie on for sure.
And then he looked at you. What did you see in the face?
It's a hard question, especially when you don't get asked this. What did I see in the face? Like his facial expression? Oh, I saw stress in his face for sure. That's part of the reason I called him.
How about the skin? Take it out of your mind. It's easy.
Probably tan, right? He looked shocked that I